Alright everyone, now every time I make a new video, I struggle with the question of how much to recap for the new subscribers. Because if you are new to the Electric Universe community, you will not understand a lot of the terminology. And if you are new, I would hope that you would go back and watch some of my older content, or I would refer you to the Thunderbolts project so that you can get caught up. But I'm going to make this video to my core subscribers that are caught up. And so we're going to talk about the Archons. And there's a lot of discussion about who exactly are these Archons. A lot of you might be subscribed to the large channel Leak Project with Rex Bear, and he always talks about who are the Archons that have us locked in this matrix and they're feeding on our soul energy. Well, we already know who the Archons are. That work has already been done for us. And what you are looking at now is the chief Archon, Yaldabaoth. And there's much discussion as to who exactly is Yaldabaoth. And this comes from the Gnostic writings and teachings. And I want to show you something because Yaldabaoth tells on himself. Right on his chest. Let's take a look. There you can see the dancing Taurus field, the stickman petroglyph, the double-ended trident of the gods. And so, some of you may have never heard of the Gnostics. They arose under the influence of the philosophers who were trying to reconcile Christianity with paganism. And they were basically hunted down. They had to hide their secret writings, a lot of which survived. And of course, we found a nice little stash of them at the Nag Hammadi find, as they call it. Gnostic, relating to knowledge, especially esoteric mystical knowledge. And you will all recognize this symbology that they are using. We've talked about, with this polar configuration, the Eye of Odin, the Eye of Bel, the Eye of Ra. And so there is much discussion. Who is Yaldabaoth? Yaldabaoth falsely believed himself to be the only god in the entire cosmos. Well, Yaldabaoth is Saturn / Kronos / El, Baal, Molech. It's all the same. And he was not the only god in the cosmos, because he was kicked out of heaven. Yaldabaoth is Saturn, El. Some of the other archons are the planetary bodies: Jupiter, Mars, Venus, the Sun, Mercury, the Moon. And you will notice that Yaldabaoth, pictured here too, looks just like Kronos, Saturn. Because when Kronos was overtaken by Zeus, which is Jupiter, he ate his own children and he was bound with rings. This is also Yaldabaoth. It's no mystery. The Apocryphon of John says, the sixth one is Cain, whom the generation of men call the fallen son. And this is what my channel is about. The fallen sun. Saturn, Shamash, El. The Gnostic god Yaldabaoth. And when I see this symbol, I can't help but think of this. And this. The Bull of Heaven, the Dancing Taurus Field, the Stickman Petroglyph. The collapse of the polar configuration is the origin of so much. And here is the polar configuration, Saturn, Mars, and Venus, with the descending mountain of God. And here is Kronos, also telling on himself with the dancing Taurus field in his hand, the double-ended trident of the gods. And why does he have the bird? Simply morphing plasma. And Thoth literally wearing the polar configuration on his head. With the descending mountain of God. Reading about more Gnostic and apocryphal work, I came across this image. And I couldn't help but think of this. Morphing electrical plasma during the cataclysm. Dancing Taurus field under the collapsing polar configuration. The origin of so much. The Taurus field, the three planets, as the ancient Sumerians call them, the three sky orbs. The Golden Age was the age of Saturn. It's no mystery. I thought I would throw this in. Cain and Abel. Abe L. Does he represent Saturn being killed? And then Cain is sent off to be a wanderer, which is what a planet is in the Greek, a wanderer. Is this the same story of Osiris and Set, Kronos and Zeus, Cain and Abe El? Perhaps. Cain killing Abel with the scythe, which is what we see Kronos with. And when you look a lot at the Freemasonry symbols, Jacob's ladder, the polar configuration, as above, so below, the three ruffians, they are using the symbols of the polar configuration. The Masonic Abraxas with the serpents, the electrical plasma, and whether or not they know the true origins of these symbols, I don't know, because I'm not invited to their secret meetings. And to give you a taste of what the ancients experienced, here is Hesiod, the Greek, 2,700 years ago. Then Zeus no longer held back his might, but straight his heart was filled with fury, and he showed forth all his strength. From heaven and from Olympus he came forth with, hurling his lightning. The bolt flew thick and fast from his strong hand, together with thunder and lightning, whirling an awesome flame. The life-giving earth crashed around in burning, and the vast wood crackled loud with fire all about. All the land seethed, and ocean streams, and the unfruitful sea, the hot vapor lapped round the earth-born Titans. Flame unspeakable rose to the bright upper air. The flashing glare of the thunderstone and lightning blinded their eyes, for all that were there were strong. Astounding heat seized chaos, and to see with eyes and to hear the sound with ears, it seemed even as if earth and wide heaven above came together. For such a mighty crash would have arisen if earth were being hurled to ruin, and heaven from on high were hurling her down. So great a crash was there while the gods were meeting together in strife. Also the winds brought rumbling earthquake and dust storm, thunder and lightning, and the lurid thunderbolt, which are the shafts of great Zeus, and carried the clangor and the war cry into the midst of the two hosts. And horrible uproar of terrible strife arose. Mighty deeds were shown, and the battle inclined. But until then, they kept at one another and fought continually in the cruel war. It's all about the Taurus field.